For our Psych and film project, my partner Alana and I decided to do the show We Were Liars, and our main character is Candace Sinclair Eastman. The show takes place in Beechwood Island, the family's private island just off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. For a little bit of background, Candace is a really privileged teenager from the wealthy family. They spend every single summer in Beechwood with her cousins and step-cousin. The family has a lot of money, and that's mainly where the conflict comes about, and they worry a lot about keeping up with their image. This hurts Candace's ability to express her trauma because they're worried that her mental health will make them look bad in front of the public. We ultimately diagnosed her with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. One summer she experiences a traumatic event, and then the following summer she's trying to uncover what went down the previous summer. That's basically what the whole show is centered around. PTSD involves being exposed to a traumatic event and then experiencing mood, avoidance, amnesia, and intrusive memories and thoughts. Her privileged family believes that she might have physical problems rather than mental trauma because they focus on what she's going to look like to the public. Additionally, because of her family's status, they might try to censor her PTSD and see it as a weakness and not even try to fix it or get her help. Throughout the film, they don't really tell her what's going on because this is just not part of who they are as a family and as a society. This disorder is largely diagnosed across cultures, we believed, especially in cultures with higher wealth and social class, which is kind of contradictory to the show. Although widely diagnosed, this disorder is not always treated and dealt with. Cultures with impoverished communities or underdeveloped healthcare might not have the resources or therapies to treat these individuals. Additionally, many cultures, such as Hispanic and Asian, often see mental health as a weakness and don't deal with it professionally. Some stigmas with PTSD that we see in the film are that people are like almost damaged or crazy and that these things didn't really happen or they're exaggerating. One empirical study that we found was 16 veterans went through focus groups, and it kind of helped them through the stigma of PTSD. They weren't necessarily labeling themselves as crazy, and the group therapy really helped them work through their trauma. We were able to diagnose her based off of some pretty evident symptoms. Evidence of these include, the first one we found was flashbacks. Every time her family would bring up or mention the event, she would seize or pass out or just have clear, vivid memories of the event occurring. The DSM-5 mentions that PTSD is a main symptom of PTSD, and so that really helped us diagnose her. Additionally, we found an empirical paper talking about how flashbacks can be so vivid because it's tying an emotional component to that memory, which is why it seems so realistic. The second and almost more central symptom that we found is avoidance of trauma-related memories or places, and Candace experiences this through amnesia. The entire summer she forgets. She blocks out the entire memory. She doesn't even remember her cousins or family members dying. This is so painful for her because she chooses to bury that memory and is in denial. The DSM-5 again states that a symptom of PTSD includes dissociative amnesia. This occurs when a traumatic event is associated with a negative memory, and this one is the most prevalent throughout the whole show. Now, for our third symptom, this is one she doesn't actually display, is feelings of detachment or estrangement from others. This is a common symptom of PTSD, and she's quite the opposite throughout the whole show. She's very much bugging her family members. She's always around them trying to figure out what happened, trying to get answers out of them, and they never tell her anything. Again, we found this from the DSM-5. It told us that feelings of detachment and estrangement from others is a common symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. And even though Candace doesn't experience it, it is a main symptom. For our treatment of choice, we said cognitive behavioral therapy would help her. This helps individuals process their trauma and helps reduce avoidance behaviors. This practice would help her talk through the memories that she forgot, but also to go through the trauma of her family and friends dying. One ethical risk would be that she potentially could re-traumatize herself, and a barrier would be that her family's status would cause them to negate her of treatment because it might look bad to the media. One empirical paper that we found says that CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, is one of the top methods for helping school-aged and adolescents go through their trauma, which would be good for Candace as she is a teenager. Overall, we said that the film was a good representation of PTSD as it shows that it can come with many different symptoms. For example, we didn't know amnesia was a symptom of PTSD. And then these are our works cited. Thank you so much for watching.